welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you, Katie.
Thank you. Happy to be back. Happy Halloween, everybody, I guess.
Happy Halloween. We did not coordinate our colors, but
We did not, but it
but
did work out.
they are working. They are working.
Maybe I should go back and get the black lipstick.
Yeah, that was when I saw that earlier, I was like, wow, wonder if she's gonna bring that to the cast.
For the people at home, I was Viola Swamp today for Book Character Day. I work for an elementary school. It's kind of a job hazard. I did manage to get the black lipstick off before we started.
Well done. Well done. So I had plans of reading some things off of Facebook, but I mean, I have somewhat of a recollection of what they were talking about. I see a lot of I'm still not able to take a deep breath and all these other things. And then I read on and read on. And then first question is, well, how far out are you?
Right.
Sometimes you'll get 6 weeks,
Yeah.
8 days.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you see excuse me, some of these questions and it's like, you got to give yourself some time.
Yeah.
That's been every time I read those, I think to myself, like, just give it some time, What kind
Yeah.
of expectations have you been led to believe?
Yeah.
Because if you're asking those questions on Facebook, don't you think you should have asked your medical team? I mean, that makes sense?
Maybe there's a little bit of fear in asking those questions as far as it's been 8 days or 6 weeks and I still can't take a deep breath or, there's a lot of pain involved with it. And I think, again, we talk all the time. I feel like every time we meet up to chat, we're talking about how great Mayo did at preparing us
Mhm.
for what comes after surgery and preparing us for you're trading one disease for another. You're not going to have a disease free life. This is just a different kind of disease. You still have, a complex health regimen. But I think that maybe there's a little bit of fear in asking those questions. Maybe people are afraid I'm going to look dumb, or maybe there is something wrong with me and I'm scared to ask my team because I'm afraid of what the answer is.
Okay.
And maybe that particular question is one that almost feels like, well, it should be common sense. You just had major surgery 8 days ago. You're going to have some pain that's going to restrict your breathing for quite some time. I don't recall. I remember having that particular conversation about that rubber band feeling with other
Mhm.
patients through cardiopulmonary rehab. And I think it was even brought up in support group at one point or another. So, some of those conversations happen between other patients and those relationships, like forming good relationships like we had with our peers that we went through it with. It almost feels like a college class. I don't know why that just came to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those are really important. Having people that you can say, "Hey, what is this? What am I like? Am I what am and what am experiencing? Is that okay?"
Mhm.
But also, you as that friend have to be willing to say, "I don't know. You need to ask the doctor," because we are
Yeah,
doctors.
of our own
I mean,
of
of
our own
ourselves.
destiny.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we know
Well,
our
yeah.
own health very well.
Yeah, we do. Brings me to something was, we'd missed a few weeks because I was sick
Yep,
and
me too. A little, not a lot.
yeah,
Not like
you
you.
know, no, I just was like, I just couldn't stop. Like if I'd start to laugh or something, I'd just start a coughing fit. It was like an annoying thing. And it was all in my sinuses. And then it started to work its way down. And I was like, I know what this is. I'm not going to call. So I chose not to call. Sure enough, it passed. It was all
Yeah,
fine. But I do remember, when we were early on, fresh out of transplant, anytime, I mean, I'll be honest, I've called, I wake up and your chest feels tight and,
yep,
you don't take into consideration that the neighbors are out mowing or,
yeah,
something's going on that's like stirring up something, and boom, you call right away. And they're like, "Well, what's going on? What's your spirometry like?" You're like, "Well, it's fine." Okay. Then just relax.
yeah. You're
You're
probably
okay.
okay.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, they'll bring you in to bronch you, but like, if you don't have to go under anesthesia.
Probably best you don't.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it can't be good for anybody. It's
Yeah.
great, but can't be good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I used to have that little panic. I think that's normal. It's new territory.
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
Well, yeah, and you've just been through so much. And every little thing, like you said, it's new territory, but it's also like, I don't want to have to do this again right now. I mean, we know
Yeah,
that most people that have a transplant at some point, you're probably going to have something happen and you might need another transplant. But in
right.
those early days, I think it's very much in the forefront of your mind,
Mhm.
early rejection, all of that. It's all, you're very immune suppressed, you're susceptible to everything in the air. I think there's a lot more panic in the beginning about all of those little things. Like I had a ton of rib pain and I still get rib pain to this day. And it took me a long time to get to where I was like, oh, this feels exactly like it did the last time. I know it's going to go away. It's okay. It's
Right.
just fine. But I'm like you, like in the beginning, and really up until probably 2 or 3 years ago, even, I called about so many little things. And they were like, we'd rather you call us and have us tell you it's nothing than for you to make that call on your own. If you're worried about something, please let us be the one that says you're fine.
Right.
So, I'm sure that teams everywhere feel that way, but that's one of the things I love most about Mayo is they're like, you're not bugging us. We want to make that call for you. You don't need to make that call for yourself.
I feel like I say the same thing every time. Like, it's just there's a level after you give it about a year.
Yeah.
I feel like you start to kind of calm down. I saw a post the other day where somebody was asking, my husband just had his transplant, we'll say within the month. He was pretty fresh. I don't know the exact
Yeah.
amount of weeks, but anyways, he's still not out of the hospital. He is, and the wife was like, we are so scared like to leave the hospital, kind of like I was. It's like,
Yeah. We are
yeah, you get they fill your head with all these horror stories. Not really fill your head,
not
but
really.
they tell you, be careful, don't do this, don't do that. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the don'ts instead of,
Yeah.
you start asking, when you talk about don'ts, your initial response is, well, what can I do? Well,
Yeah.
you can do
A
just about
lot.
everything,
Yeah.
you know. If you're into unpasteurized cheese and unpasteurized milk, you're gonna have a hard time. But
Yeah.
like,
If all you eat is sushi, you're going to
yeah,
struggle.
like pomegranate, if that's your thing, yes, probably ain't for you.
Be prepared to give it up.
Right. But she was just like, we have the holidays coming up. Should we not be around family? There's a lot of grandkids and great grandkids. I'm thinking to myself, like, in my mind, it's not going to be your last Christmas. So I'm thinking in my head,
Just
maybe
wait.
not. Maybe just sit this one out.
Just wait.
Or if you're going to be like extra, in a perfect world, you can say, oh, we'll just put you over here and you can't. I don't want to ever tell anybody like, hey, you can't
Don't see your
do
family.
something. And then obviously it's a personal call, but sometimes it's just like, "Hey, let's just maybe throw this on the back burner."
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if you're doing great, I guess go for it, but
I mean, you bring up an interesting point, and it's kind of poignant right now because, not to
we're
put
getting
too
into the
much of
holidays.
like the date, to put a date on it. I know you don't really like to do that in podcast land, but I mean, the reality is it's October 31st. We're moving into the holidays and people are, making those decisions, especially people who are considering a transplant or maybe they've just
Mhm.
had one and trying to decide like how much risk is worth it. And really for the first year, I was just talking to somebody about this at a work conference I went to this week. She was asking me about transplant. Because she knew I'd had one, but she didn't really know my whole story. And she was, kind of curious. And I was like, ask me anything.
Yeah.
She was like, what was the recovery process like? And so I was telling her, that initial recovery is like 3 months, but really full recovery, they say it's like a year. And so I think there's wisdom in saying it's probably not going to be your last Thanksgiving and your last Christmas. Maybe you want to dial it back a little, sit this
Yeah.
one out, and we had to make a lot of those decisions in the very beginning. I mean, I got my transplant in March. So we had several months to have those conversations with our families. But even now, at 11 plus years since my transplant, we just tell everyone, if we're coming to visit, because we usually go visit my husband's family for Thanksgiving, this year they're coming to us. But
Mhm.
everybody's learned the rules. Like if one of the kids has had a fever in the last 7 days, please let us know so that we can
Yeah.
make the decision whether if we want to come or not. And so I think really those conversations, you've got to just be open and be honest and understand like there's probably going to be a little bit of disappointment, especially in the beginning. You know, if
Absolutely.
if there are sniffles and coughing and sneezing, obviously we want to protect ourselves so that we can be around for the next holiday.
Yeah.
So I think it's the honesty is the best place to start and just tell your families, we've just been through this big thing. We're always going to have to be more careful, especially during cold and flu season.
Mhm.
And please don't be offended if make the choice at the last minute not to come and know that you're not going to hurt our feelings at the
Right.
last minute if you say, "Hey, we're just not really sure that this cough, this sneezing is allergies and we would rather get together at another time."
Mhm.
So you learn to be flexible with stuff like that, but there's some hurt feelings in the beginning and I think it's just kind of natural.
Yeah. I mean, you get through it, I remember, looking forward to doing things, and
Yeah.
was always like, "All right, well, if I can get my call by, this date, then maybe I can do something like this." And then it's like,
Yes.
"Well, that's if I have a perfect, blah blah blah." And you're like,
Right.
I mean, but all you have when you're waiting is time. So
Yes.
it's only natural to go down these rabbit holes, and
Of course.
sometimes you can't get out of them. But
Yeah, I think those rabbit holes can be positive though, especially if you're
yeah,
looking forward to things in the future. You just have to hold them with a really loose grip and know everything is contingent upon that transplant date, on your
right.
recovery. And, sometimes there are some things that are always going to be unrealistic. I don't scuba dive. I never took that up when I was younger before my transplant because I've always had lung disease. But if I were like super attached to the idea of being able to go scuba diving, like that's completely off the table. There are
Yeah,
some things that are completely off the table. And I think you just have to, like you said, focus on what you can do
yeah, yeah,
instead
yeah,
of getting wrapped up in the don'ts and I can't.
yeah. Because I mean, you can find the negative to anything and talk yourself out of
Yeah,
talk yourself right out of life.
for
It's
sure.
like, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was worried at first too, like, oh, what can I do? What can I do?
Normal.
It's completely normal. And then as you go on, you're like, I can do this. I just
Yeah.
have to be careful.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's kind of like a buffer through life because you do have to like
Yeah.
consciously make decisions based on what you're doing because of your lungs. I mean, they're the only organ
Yeah.
out there that's not protected.
Right.
Oh,
Totally. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think you're probably like this. I may be off base. I feel like I know you well enough to say this, but we are like Dustin and I, if there's something we want to do, we're going to figure out how to do it safely. A-
Right. I'm
And
not gonna say no.
every once in a while there's something that I'm like, I know we've made this plan, but I just don't feel good about it for some reason, and we
Yeah.
won't do it. But, I think from all, like 95% of things that you can dream up to do after your transplant, you can find a safe way to do it.
Or, I mean, that's a great time to introduce something new,
Yes.
because think about all the things you couldn't do that you wanna do, and then
Right.
you go through this huge battle, with transplant, and then you come out the other side and you're like, all right, well, you start thinking about, well, what are the things that I, haven't done in my life that I can do instead of, hey, let me get back into some of the things that I enjoyed doing. Now,
Yeah.
if you grow up sick, like I did,
Both of
it's not
us.
like that. Then you do
Probably
have
isn't.
a wish list. You have like a wish list. But yeah, that's why it's so different for different people. How long have you
Good.
been battling? How long have you been battling health problems?
Right.
Like end stage health problems.
Yeah.
Some people get sick and transplanted within 2 years, which
Yeah.
boggles my mind how something
And
like
this
that even works.
yeah. I think I would have struggled a lot more with post-transplant life and how different it would have been. But, like, for you and me, we were always sick. So for us, it was like, they were like, "Your
Yeah.
life's gonna be different after." And I was like, "Well, I sure hope so because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
banking on it." But I think that our experience post-transplant, the whole world was open to us. And I can't I struggle to put myself in the shoes of somebody who was perfectly normal, perfectly healthy, never
And
had
it's
to
normal.
consider anything. And then all of a sudden, now they do have all of these restrictions. They didn't feel like restrictions to me because my health limited so much of what I could do when I was younger. And then it was like, I have this, you know, whole wide world of things that I can do that I was never even able to do before. Yeah, it's different for everybody for sure.
Yeah, and then getting back to some of the Facebook things I see a lot of that. I see a lot of how does everybody cope with, you know, the anxiety of waiting. Obviously that's
Yes,
such a
how?
yeah, it's just and I feel bad because some of these comments and some of the questions are just you can just tell people are just so lost. They
Yeah,
feel like they've been thrown onto this deserted island that they've never been to, and they're like, "All right, here you go, figure it out."
yeah.
And it can feel like that, for especially for those who, like we were just saying, have only been sick for, we'll say, 5 to 10 years. Maybe we'll say 2 to 3 years instead of 5 to 10. But 2 to 3 years, you haven't been battling your disease for very long, and then, so you're going into it, and then all of a sudden you're in a hospital setting with doctors, and they're talking about this, that, and the other, and you're going through every test known to man. It's at that point where I think people are like, "Oh god, I don't even know what's happening anymore. I don't know what
Yeah,
they're testing for. I don't know what we're looking at. I don't know
yeah,
what they're gonna find. I don't." You know what I mean? You're
yeah.
just because when the ball starts rolling, it
It
rolls
goes
downhill.
so fast. It's like everything is in
Yes.
limbo, and then all of a sudden, everything is happening very, very quickly.
The cool thing I will say about starting the transplant journey is how much better they can make you physically before you're transplanted.
That was
That's
kind of wild. I
that
had that
was
experience
that was
myself.
very, and everybody's like, "Well, what's different?" It's because you're on the correct amount of oxygen. I mean, when your
Yeah,
brain gets enough oxygen,
it's
sky's the limit.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
and right.
Well, yeah,
So,
and you go to cardiopulmonary rehab, so you're being the hospital is forcing you to maintain an exercise regimen.
yeah, because
Um,
the last thing they want is for you to get listed for transplant or be on the bubble of being listed for transplant, missing out
yeah,
on opportunities. And
yeah,
they don't tell you no to be mean. They
no,
tell
they
you
don't.
no or hold on or, I saw a post about, I've been put on hold. What does that mean? Well,
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody explained that to them. However, in layman's term, in patient terms, and somebody just wants the blunt answer, it's like, well, honestly, you're not gonna like this, but you're not sick enough, or you're
you're too
not
sick. No.
healthy. Yeah, you're not healthy enough to survive the surgery.
Yeah,
It's like I understand that you're on your deathbed, but if you're so weak and so frail,
you won't recover.
you're not even gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be. Those are the
Yeah,
people that sometimes not those are the people because some people who are on that border of sick, not too sick, and then too sick,
Yeah.
I think those are the ones that end up having a long stay,
Yeah.
after surgery, and not always. Some people just get through it easily, and they're like, "Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't that bad." And
Yeah.
great, you know, it's awesome. But, the other part of this whole thing is, everybody, what's the average survival? And it's like, I mean, your focus to me, if I can give you any advice, it's don't focus on statistics. Don't do
Yeah.
this thinking you're gonna beat statistics or have that as a goal. It is literally day to day.
It is.
Every single day.
It
It's not
is.
even week to week. It's not even Monday to Friday. It's literally every
Yeah.
day. You gotta start your day the exact same way, you know, just like any other routine. Our routine may look a I'm sure yours and mine look different.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't I know you don't wake up every day and take the kids to school, and
I do not.
yeah, I mean, God, I feel like some days I feel like the school teacher. A Another thing that I see on there common is about honey.
I have only recently heard this controversy. I
Me
did not even
too.
know that this was a thing. So you'll have to explain it to me because I'm not even sure I fully understand it.
I was hoping you could enlighten me, but apparently I've never been a honey. I don't eat honey, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I'm diabetic, so it's really not something that I eat a lot of either because it is very difficult to control.
you're right. Yeah, so for all the honey lovers out there who are like, "Oh yeah, I've been eating honey whatever." I've never eaten honey. So, yeah, apparently there's pasteurized and unpasteurized honey.
Did not know that.
I
I
had no
mean,
idea either.
I might be confessing to something that I shouldn't, but we do go to the farmer's market and buy local honey, and I'm fairly certain it is not pasteurized. And like I don't eat it often, but I use it. I mean, I we do use it from time to time.
We never said anything about honey. I know it
Uh,
was always like the cheeses, the
yeah,
milk, and,
yeah. Eggs, not eating undercooked eggs, which don't at me, but I do now. Yeah, like
you
the
do?
big thing was, yeah, I guess
Hey, if I told you some of the things that I eat, I mean, I
it's
eat a
like
lot of sushi. I do.
I'm glad we may or may not be going for sushi for dinner. I mean, it's fine.
When
But
you talk
I
about
think
sushi,
that,
I'm like, man, I eat sushi probably like once or twice a month."
yeah, there are so many food rules. That was the hang up for me. I was like, there are so many food rules.
Yeah,
So many food rules. Um, do not take my advice. I am not a doctor, but this is how I make my choices. I cook a lot. We eat at
mhm,
home most nights. If I have cooked it at my house, I am not concerned about eating an undercooked steak. They go
yeah,
straight from my freezer to my refrigerator, then they are cooked. I'm not
yeah,
concerned about eating undercooked eggs at home. I know in the beginning they tell you, don't eat a salad when you go to a restaurant. You don't know how it's you don't know how it's prepared, you don't know how it's handled. In the beginning, I followed all the rules because I think it's important, especially till you get past that first year. I didn't eat
yeah.
anything undercooked. I didn't eat sushi. I didn't eat strawberries. I didn't eat raspberries. I still don't eat pomegranate and grapefruit because that has to do with medication absorption. That is one I am not messing with. We don't do that.
Never
But
did before,
now
anyways.
I mean, I like pomegranate, but grapefruit I could take or leave. You know, I think it's really important, and I think this goes for everything. If that
Mhm.
information is on social media and it is not from your team,
Yeah,
that is a question for your team. I would never recommend taking advice on what to eat and what not to eat from anybody but your transplant team. And if you want to know why, just ask them. They will tell you. And I think understanding the why of those food rules is really important for being able to choose, like, is this something that I feel safe doing at my own house? I'm not worried about getting, food poisoning at my own house. At
Right.
restaurants, I'm a lot more conservative. We eat at if I'm gonna have sushi, we're going to one of 2 places, and they're places that we go all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not an adventurous eater anyway, but if we're somewhere new, I'm a lot more cautious about what I eat. And that's so ingrained now after 11 years. I don't
Yeah.
really
A
even
lot
have
of
to think about it
things
anymore.
yeah, a lot of things I do now, sometimes I'll catch myself like, "Oh, remember when you didn't care about stuff like that?"
Yes. Well, for the longest time, we were like, "Oh, is it safe to have ice at a restaurant?"
Oh,
And
the ice.
I asked my transplant coordinator, I was like, why, like, what's your take on this? And, it's like, do you don't know if that ice machine is clean,
Yeah.
which is true. And then I was like, well, I mean, what is the actual risk? She did not tell me this. This was all my own thoughts. She just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
explained why the ice thing was a thing.
Mhm.
Um, there was something else that I was doing that was kind of off the wall. I was taking my own silverware. Like, I was taking my own flatware to a restaurant, and someone was like, "That is probably not necessary."
Oh, wow,
Um,
yeah, I never did that.
I
I didn't even
definitely did
think to
that.
do that. I remember a couple of times where I would, like, use my shirt to, like, you know
As if your shirt is so much cleaner because it's been exposed to everything.
It's
But
the inside of my shirt, if that makes it any better.
sure that it does.
No, I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure
like
it does
now when
either,
I go
but
to
you
a
know what?
restaurant, I think about ice. I just have ice. I don't think about
What
worry about it.
yeah. What was the do you remember the time we went out to dinner?
Which time? I feel like we all
The
went out
Mexican
quite
it was a
often.
Mexican
Ugh.
night. It was,
Yes, I've tried to block out this experience for other reasons.
yeah, I remember that night, and, Alex was there. Alex and Robin were there, and they were telling us about we were talking about all the things, like, the do's
Yeah.
and do nots, and I was like, "Oh, man,
Oh,
get me
that's not the
outta
one I'm
here."
thinking about. It was
Oh,
another experience at a Mexican restaurant, and there were a whole bunch of transplant patients. And that one didn't go well. That's no, the one with Robin and I always found Robin and Alex to be super, super helpful because I felt
they
like
oh, 100%,
they
100%,
were,
but here I come along at
yeah,
24, and I'm just like, "I don't have time for any of this." I'm not
yeah,
here to for you to tell me what I can't do, okay?
yeah,
And I just remember some of the they talked about the ice and the
yep,
strawberries and the
yep,
salads, and I'm like,
yep.
"Oh, cool." So,
We can't eat
basically,
anything.
can't
Take your
yeah, basically, we can't have fun, and they're like, "No, there's no fun to be had after
That's not
transplant."
true. They did not say that.
No, 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 I remember Robin. Robin was a jokester. She was
She
so
really
funny,
was.
but
I
she was
miss
like,
her.
"Oh, yeah, no fun." I'm like I knew she was joking, but
Yes.
I'm like, "Well, what about this?" They're like, "Nope." And I'm like,
Nope. Can't have that.
"Yeah." Or I can't remember, like, some of the things that I said, and it's weird because there's nothing that I eat now that I didn't eat before. So
I do. I will eat deli meat, which for
oh,
a
yeah.
very long time, I would not eat it if it hadn't been heated. I will
So
eat it.
that is how by the book, you're supposed to do it. So, usually when I go to, like, a sandwich place, like a Jersey Mike's or, anywhere where they're gonna fresh cut it on a wheel,
Yep.
I've had I've had cold subs off the things, and I know you're not supposed to
No.
because it's just a risk of when's the last time that slicer was washed, and
Listeria.
I would never hesitate to get cold cuts from Publix.
If I'm getting a cold sub, it is generally from Publix. Or
Just
like, but I'm
clean.
not gonna go to Subway. I'm not gonna go
No,
to Subway
and
and get
it's
a
nothing
cold sandwich.
and I've never had an issue. I don't eat cold cuts every single day,
No.
but I also I have to like what I'm eating. So,
Yeah.
not always can you just go and grab one of those prepackaged sometimes that just doesn't do it for you.
No.
You need to be able
No.
to pick your slice width, the thickness and all that. It's like, "How's this one?" And, I'm the guy who's like, "Ooh, a little thicker." And then I take that sample and I'm like, maybe a little thinner, take that sample." And they're like by the time I've had 3 or 4 slices, I'm like, "Oh, we're good."
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need a sandwich. I think the conversation though is what risks are worth it and which risks are not.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
risks are going to be worth it when you get to a point where you can make that decision. Again, I recommend being by the book for the first year.
Just get used to life.
You do. You do.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
have to get used to your new life. You have to get acquainted with the new you because
Yeah.
you're learning, the people that are closest to you are, like, mind boggled. Trust me, they're
Yeah.
mind boggled
Yeah.
because people who aren't sick or don't have health issues, transplant will boggle your mind. I mean,
Yeah. It's
as a caregiver or
extreme.
whatever, you'll sit there in the room and go, "Wow, this is a lot."
Okay. Yeah.
And especially
Yeah.
for those of you, I know I kinda jump around, but, I think about the shocking wow moments and, like,
Mhm.
especially when your loved ones or yourself come out of that OR. I mean, yeah, you look like a robot hooked up to every single machine, and some people are hooked up to more machines than others when they come out,
Yeah.
but it's pretty overwhelming. I mean, I didn't you don't as the patient, you don't remember, but you see pictures and you're like, "Wow." Like, I look at previous transplant pictures and I'm like, "Dang, I don't remember being hooked up to all that," but you literally have tubes coming out of everything
Yeah.
minus your ears.
Yes.
Aside from
Something.
that, everything's pretty much got a hose. But those the caregivers, we don't give them nearly as much credit as they deserve
No,
because
but we should.
yeah, yeah, for me, my mom was my caregiver and she was a nurse. And there was good with that, and then there was like what I would call some annoyances with that because,
Yeah.
she is a nurse, she cares, that's what she does. Plus
Right.
you know, I'm her child and, so but some of those like just certain topics you just couldn't I felt like I couldn't talk to her about it because of her knowledge of
Yeah.
my life, my background, and so I didn't and then the last thing you wanna do, at least for me, was, I never wanted to tell anybody I didn't feel good
Yeah.
because I just wasn't me. I was never really a complainer. When I was younger, if I had to do something that was strenuous that any other kid could do, I would complain and I would get a little bit, like I think they would get frustrated, like, are you serious?" Or, you
You
never
just don't
can
want to
tell,
hear
like,
that?
"Yeah, are you being lazy or are you, like, legit?" And, it's funny 'cause I joke around with my parents all the time about, "Remember, when you guys wanted me to mow the lawn and I would do, like, 3 up and backs and the
I
lawnmower would
totally
come."
could have finished it.
I'm like, "I wasn't being lazy, I was literally just about to drop dead out there."
Yeah.
And, yeah, you just have all these moments where it's like, yeah, I mean, you feel like you gotta really make excuses for it. It's a weird thing because when you can't breathe, you can't breathe. It's
Yeah.
not
It's
like
not your fault.
yeah, but it's weird because when you're the person who can't breathe, you feel like, "God, this is embarrassing."
Or when you can't stop coughing.
Yeah, or yeah, you
Yeah.
get into or you start wheezing, and I didn't really wheeze too often unless I was
Yeah.
sick, but, like walking back in elementary school, walking back from lunchroom, and you get back and
Yeah.
and people are, like, looking at you
You
like,
okay?
"Dude." Yeah, it's like, I didn't even know I was breathing heavy. I'm just
Right? Did you just vibrate?
trying to get my breath back. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was growing up for me is just the
Yeah.
little burst of movement
Yeah.
took me out. Yeah, and I think that's why when we talk about you running, it's just like, running,
Oh, I definitely had to grow into that. That was not a pre-transplant activity for me.
and
That has become.
I just think it's the greatest thing that you run because that's when you think of getting lungs, you're like, "Wow, I wanna be a marathon runner." Like, I wanna
Yes, but
run
the rest
across
of
the
my body is still 40.
right. Yeah, and that's the problem that sucks. Like,
But
yes,
you
I
bring up an
can.
interesting point because even though I can do it now, and we're doing a 10K next Saturday, even though I can do it now, there are still moments where my brain is so trained that I can't, that
Yeah,
I will have a complete and total meltdown. And I'm like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I can't.
right, and
And
then you're
Dustin's
like,
like, yes, you can. I'm like, no, I
yeah,
can't. And he's like, you can. You can do
yeah,
it. You've
that's
done
where
it
I would
before.
if I'm Dustin, I'm like, "You're embarrassing me. Did you?"
I usually have the meltdowns at home, not at the starting
Not
line.
in the middle of the race.
No, that's not true. I definitely had that meltdown in the middle of a race back in the summertime. That was ugly.
That's funny. Whatever.
Confession, yes.
It can get frustrating. I mean, when your body doesn't line up with your mind and your mind doesn't line up with your body, I mean, it
Yeah,
can that's a battle, you know?
it is a battle, and that's one that I don't think we talk enough about.
Yeah,
I have
just
actually
anything in life, not even just transplant, but the body
yes.
over the mind or the mind over what the
Yeah?
body yeah.
Yeah, I started taking a new medication. I started taking Trikafta. It's a cystic fibrosis medication.
Okay.
And I started taking it back in like 2020. And it was something that Dr. Erasmus had suggested. And I was like, but do I really need it? Because my lungs don't have CF anymore. And he was like, well, I would really like for you to take it because it will help
Mhm.
other parts of your body that do still have cystic fibrosis, like your
Mhm.
digestive tract and, liver, kidneys, pancreas, all of that. And I was like, fine, I'll take it because I respect him and I will do what he asks me to do. He's a great doctor. I wasn't going to tell him no. But one of the things that I wasn't prepared for is how much weight I was going to put on because now my digestive system doesn't function like it has cystic fibrosis. This
Yeah.
medication changes all of that. And I was talking to the CF social worker. I was like, Bob, this needs to be studied because this was hard. I was like, of all the things post transplant, starting to take Trikafta has been the hardest. And it has nothing to do with my transplant, but all of a sudden, like I've gone from being totally underweight, which is not healthy, to
No.
getting a transplant and putting on a little bit of weight because now I'm healthy. But
Right.
this, I gained like 10 pounds very quickly, and I'm only 4 feet 10. So 10
Right.
pounds
ten
was a
pounds is
lot.
noticeable. It's
But
noticeable.
psychologically, it threw me for a loop. And so I think after transplant, there are very definitely like mind body mismatches that you have to talk about. You have to talk to
Mhm.
somebody about them instead of just, like I deal with things through humor. So when I had that conversation with the social worker, it was
That's
a
why
very
you're my
humorous
co-host.
conversation. But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I was like, I'm kind of struggling. Like, I know that this is good. Intellectually, I
Mhm.
know that this is good. But psychologically, I am struggling with the changes.
Yeah.
And, some of that post transplant too, especially right after when you're like retaining fluid. The most I've ever weighed was when I left the hospital after my transplant because I was still retaining a
I
lot
re
of fluid.
I retained fluids the second transplant, not the first one.
I
But I
weighed
don't
like
think
107 pounds.
when you left
Yes, I still like even after Trikafta, I still don't
yeah,
weigh that much. It was a
I,
lot.
uh, I was I was probably 102, 103 when I went in for surgery. I was one of those who they wanted me to gain
Yes,
20 pounds, and I'm
they
looking
do.
at these
You
people
need
like,
it,
"Listen, if you want I better start eating lead." Like,
right?
they have and I know that they're doing their job and, in a perfect world, they try to get you to where they think you're gonna have the most success, and
Yes.
I just remember at one point when I won't say any names, but when our nutritionist was like, "I need you to eat between 2,500 and 3,000 calories while you're waiting. We need to get your
Yeah.
BMI up," because my BMI was I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day, weighing 102 pounds. I'm not even near the weight chart. I'm like
No.
way underweight.
Yeah.
And I finally just were like, listen, you don't understand. It's way more work for me to try to consume these calories than it is for me to just not consume them.
Yeah.
And And I think at one point they were like, "All right, I think I got up to like 106,
Yeah.
somewhere in there." But when you're in that state of mind, you're in that state of life, the last thing you wanna do is just eat. I don't know.
And from the other side too, like there are people who have to lose a lot to be listed for transplant. And so when you are not feeling well, if eating is your comfort, then you don't want to lose weight. You don't want to gain
Yeah.
weight. You just kind of want to like I'm just trying to maintain. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that you just don't know until you get into it.
Yeah, I saw another post that I'm recalling, and I know that you're gonna laugh when I say this, but hair loss.
Ugh.
I think
I
mostly
dealt with that.
women I think
It's
mostly
bad.
women worry about it or talk about it online. I can tell you that after my first transplant, I didn't realize I was losing my hair until my wedding, and then I never thought about that's about the time, so we're talking I was transplanted 13, so I was married in 14. So, we're talking a year or so into transplant now, and yeah, I was balding, but was I balding from medication or was I balding because my dad's bald?
That Interesting. I
Right.
lost so much. I lost over half of my hair.
So now when
And
knowing what I know about the drugs, I'm
yeah,
like, okay, probably was a combination of genetics but then
probably.
I'm like, well, because obviously I shave my head now, but I don't know which drug it is. It's probably tacrolimus, but
Probably.
most of the women, I would say 90% of those kind of questions are about the women, and every single one of them. Yep, yep, yep,
It's
yep.
it is quite devastating. Talking about a mind-body mismatch.
Yeah,
Yeah, I lost most of my hair. I didn't ever have like bald patches. It wasn't nobody would look at me and be like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" But I lost
I
enough
think when you notice it, it's in the shower when you're
in it,
washing your hair.
or when you brush it and you're like, "This doesn't feel like the normal
Right.
amount of hair that just kind of falls out."
Yeah, especially if you have super thick hair already, to start, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you probably feel like, God, I feel like I went through chemo with like the
I
lack of
I
hair.
I did not have super thick hair when I
Okay.
lost my hair the first time. When it came
Mhm.
back, it did grow back. It did grow back. It came back a different color and a different texture. So my hair is a completely different texture than it used to be. I also had a bad reaction to one of my COVID vaccines and lost half my hair again. So I had just recovered from all of that, and then I lost half my hair again, and it's grown back again. Ladies, find a good hairstylist that knows how to deal with it. I had great hairstylists that were able to cut my hair in a way that it wasn't quite as noticeable. Um, but again, I would rather be able to breathe and have to deal with hair
Right.
loss than, you know, stay sick. But that was hard too.
Yep. Trying to think of what else. What were some of the biggest things? As of late, everybody's been online talking about the Transplant Games coming up because they just opened
Oh yeah.
registration for
Okay.
next year's.
Never done that.
I'm gonna do it this year, or
What
I
is
should say next year, next June.
for? Of
Well, I'm gonna golf. I'm gonna do a little,
course.
maybe some basketball. I don't know.
Okay.
They have different activities for each day. You do one activity a day, but I love Denver, so
Awesome.
2028 is in St. Paul, so that's just
Okay.
20 minutes away, so
Awesome.
I'll obviously do that, but yeah, I just, I've known about them for a while. They're
Yeah.
every 2 years? I guess every 2 years.
I don't know.
I've known about them for a while, but I was always like, but now it's in Denver, and I got a buddy out there who's gonna caddy for me, so
Sounds
we're gonna
fun.
do. Yeah, we're gonna do it. There's a 5K, there's 10Ks, there's half marathons. They've got, opening ceremonies. It's kinda cool. It's kind of a cool little environment, so I just
Do they
figured,
do
why not? I just wanna yeah, 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 yeah. They do
worth
cycling. If
considering?
you go to I think it's called Transplant Games of America. Go to their website
Okay.
and yeah, I mean, maybe you wanna go. I will
I'll
be
have to
there.
look at it.
But yeah, they have everything really. They got cornhole, they've got darts.
I went to the transplant games for dart. No, I can't hit anything.
Oh man, I
My
play
aim is horrible.
I can throw some darts. I play a little cricket here and there. But yeah, I think it'll just be fun. I think it'll be fun to get around people who,
Yeah,
you know, sure you're gonna have the people who are a little extra and some people who live
probably.
their life directly by the book, and then there's gonna be somebody like me who's gonna be slamming beers while I'm no, I'm just playing. We can't even joke
Maybe
about that.
not at the transplant games.
Yeah. What kind of golf tournament is this? No beer? No
Listen,
mimosas to start my round? What is
it's
this?
not the John Daly transplant games, okay?
That would be epic. Epic. All right, well, we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
It's been another good conversation.
It's always fun. We always end up totally off the tracks, but it's always fun.
Yeah, no, I think we talked about some good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of those questions you just are just normal questions. I don't think they're anything,
No.
you know, everybody's always afraid to ask a dumb question. And I think when it comes to your life, I don't think there is a dumb question. Because
When you don't ask.
yeah, I mean, you're the judge of whether or not your question was dumb.